Uncle,
Thanks to you.
our time is running short.
Not much, I'm afraid.
Please, Uncle.
The skeleton lost.
Leoric's tale is sad, but I am here to find the fallen star, and the Skeleton King stands in my way.
The key. Leia, you should.
I wonder if Deckard has a second journal in here that I can get. Well, there's part
We
one.
have come at last to Tristram's old cathedral. This is where Diablo, Lord of Terror, first corrupted mankind. This is where I may finally find the answers I seek. Leia worries after my safety, but I believe information vital to defeating the last lords of the burning hells can be found here.
Alright, let's see if we've got a third journal from Leia yet.
Uncle Deckard is home, rescued from the clutches of the Skeleton King. I'm so glad. But the Skeleton King, I thought he was a folktale. The idea of Mad King Leoric returning to torture this place. Hasn't Tristram suffered enough?
Did you hear? Old Rumford has us down to half rations.
Blacksmith, Deckard Cain said you could help me find the crown of Leoric.
Not now.
I know it will be difficult, but she would want you to do it.
Thank you. Follow me.
Wife killing. Make sure I'm not missing any of my experience gear.
My friends, I'm sorry.
You are helping them. You don't need to be sorry.
So even though it's not a major boost, and it's not my most damaging spell being a signature ability, having my magic missile do additional damage is pretty nice. So when I run out of my arcane power, I'm still packing a slight punch.
Hedrick, help me!
Zot, zot. Too soon.
More arcane power.
I couldn't have done that.
Well, Hedrick, Deckard Cain told me you know where Leoric's crown is.
I can help you there. You'll find his tomb in a cemetery in the Weeping Hollow. And if you see my fool apprentice out there, tell him to get back to town.
There's a big pack coming this time. Stand your ground.
Starting to think I miss Arcane Orb. As nice as Ray of Frost can be. Alright, let's change it around a little bit. I've got elective mode on. I can do that, right? I don't have to be restricted by the system anymore. Fight the power, fight the man.
Hedrick's apprentice is dead. I should tell him. I don't have enough arcane power.
Glad I swapped out, to be honest. Getting a few packs here, and it's nice to have something to do some quick AoE burst. Nice flash of light. Ah, there we go. This will make everything even more wonderful. Okay, new rune. This time for Arcane Orb. Okay, let's look up Arcane Orb's runes here. There we go. Alright. This is Arcane Nova. Modifies the orb to deal 250% weapon damage as arcane to all enemies within 20 yards. So, even though the damage is in green, it's still the same damage. 250% weapon damage, but the yardage has been increased to 20% from 10, doubling the destructive power of this massively powerful spell that I love so much. It has been buffed, much like Arcane Orb in general, matching the original spell, of course. It used to do 205, it now goes up to 250, just like the base spell. And the yardage increase was actually buffed as well. It used to be 16 yards, it's now 20. To kind of put that into perspective, this is a large explosion, and I'll kind of show that to you here. If you watched my co-op video, me and ThinkFlight pretty much guessed that the edge of the screen here is roughly about 40 yards, because that was the edge that the monk's auras would start to drop off. I could still see him on my screen, and the aura was no longer on him. So this was roughly around the 40-yard mark. That means an explosion of 20 yards is roughly about half the screen here. So that is a really, really big explosion. Massive AoE, and it packs a punch of 250% weapon damage. You can just see with that group over there. Maybe not quite the halfway point, obviously. It's really kind of hard to gauge because we could have seen it drop off later than it really did. But that's still a rather large explosion here. I'll just... And of course I do like the look of it. It's kind of a... It's like a dark blue now rather than purple. You see, it's basically the explosion's about the size of this little island here. Even if it's not quite as big as I was originally estimating, it is still massive. You get a group of enemies that die quickly, and you hit them with Arcane Orb, and you will be quickly getting your Pulverize abilities, or your Pulverize bonuses. Nothing is safe. Not even a tombstone. You see that entire grouping there, 7 objects. It's just all great fun, honestly. Oh, teleporters. I missed. Beautiful thing about the large explosion radius, though, I can usually miss at least the initial shot. I'm still not really worried about it not hitting anything. It's like, oh, I missed, it hit next to you, but guess what? You're still dead. Ooh, that was a nice one. So the wizard, compared to other classes at this point, you think about a magic missile and shock pulse, arcane orb and ray of frost. You know, just this level 7 kit here, it's very nuke happy. You know, very massive damage. You know, at this point, there's not a lot of controls. There's, you know, Frost Nova, which I may go to just because ray of I like my arcane orb just that much. Just because I can. So I've got a way to snare everything, put them in place, but my primary objective as a wizard, at least right now, appears to be just kill them fast. Don't let them get near me. Glass cannon, as it were. You know, not obviously not taking a lot of damage, much like all the classes aren't at this point, but the damage output on this single ability is rather high. Okay, see, now on that one, that was just my own fault. And I missed, and not even a 20-yard explosion saved me on that one. I was just a bad shot. They keep hopping out and dying. It amuses me so. There's a whole chunk I haven't explored over here. Let's see if we can't get lucky. Den of the Fallen, maybe? Maybe? Probably not. An experience shrine, however, will be accepted as a substitute. Of course, that means I have to find things to kill now. They killed themselves. Alright. Let's try and move quickly back. I will probably lose half of this shrine before I manage to get back on to where there's some more monsters. Fairly close to level though, only about 10% left to go. Then I'll be level 8. course, with this lovely experience gear, giving about 35 extra experience per kill. Basically, with the monsters at this level, about doubling the experience gain I'm getting. Quite happy indeed. Alright, I was hoping there might be an elite over here. There sometimes is. Oh no, we're running out of experience shrine. Hurry! Hurry, my little female Starflayer. And there's level 8. Shock Pulse has a rune now. And I've learned Diamond Skin. Alright, well, I don't have exact numbers, unfortunately, but Diamond Skin, and what I'll do is I'll kind of put it on just to show it. Transform your skin into diamond for 3 seconds, absorbing up to 48 damage from incoming attacks. Obviously, that will increase as level goes up. According to the official patch notes, the absorption from Diamond Skin has actually been decreased, so it has been nerfed just a bit. One thing, you know, I forgot to go over, and I'll kind of go over it here as well. I didn't go over Ray of Frost and its changes. Ray of Frost, the weapon damage on that one actually was increased from 155 to 200 to facilitate it being a single target spell. So I'm sorry I didn't go over that. The movement speed reduction was decreased from 40% to 30%, and the attack speed reduction was reduced from 30 to 20%. So it was nerfed in the slowing abilities it has in order to bring the damage up. So the damage was brought up about 30%, and the snares reduced in about by a third, roughly. And though the duration was also reduced from 5 seconds to 3. So it has a slower reduction in attack and movement speed, and it doesn't last as long. So definitely more of a single target nuking ability. But let's look at Shock Pulse, because we did get a rune. Slain enemies explode, dealing 70% weapon damage as lightning to every enemy within 10 yards. That's a decent explosion radius, 10 yards for a rune on this kind of ability. Now, of course, it is on Shock Pulse, so that means it's, unfortunately, one I'm probably not going to really like, but we'll give it a shot here. Explosive bolts, I'm just making sure that there was no change to that. Doesn't look like there was. Not according to... Oh, here it is. Explosive bolts. 70% weapon damage down from... Wow. It used to be 208% damage on those explosions. That is massive. That would be like having many arcane orbs. Alright, we're going to give it a shot. And I will go ahead and, of course, just kind of real quick. There's Diamond Skin. I didn't do the math on the Diamond Skin one. I kind of forgot to, in order to kind of give you guys an idea of how much it was nerfed. Let's go ahead and try and get this explosion off here. There it is. That's a nice explosion, actually. I just still really don't like Shock Pulse as a skill, at least the way it acts right now. I'm going to go back to the Nova, I'm pretty sure. See, this is great if I could get a group. If I could get a large group of enemies to oppose me, or even this kind of semi-group here. As you can see, the thing that annoys me about it is I've got enemies coming up close to me, and I can actually miss enemies that are coming up and walking up to me. Monsters can stand right next to me, and I might not hit them. So while this is a nice explosion radius, and if I can get a large group around me, you know, definitely I can see where this has potential. Just really not the kind of spell I like to use. You know, personal preference, obviously. My playstyle, I don't really care for it. I'm not sure, you know, how many people might like this kind of ability. But then again, there are still more runes out there, you know, for this. Firebolts, Piercing Orb, Lightning Affinity. So there's some out there. And there we go. Alright, I'm going to go back to Magic Missile. Pardon me, I'm going to go back to Magic Missile. We're going to stick to Arcane Nova, and instead of Diamond Skin, we're going to go back to Frost Nova, because I really don't need Ray of Frost right now. So, should be good. And I'm just going to make sure that I don't make that mistake again of missing changes in abilities, because I have been doing my best to give you guys all the up-to-date information about patch 13 and what has been changed. So I'm definitely sorry that I missed the opportunity to tell you how the spell had changed when I acquired it. As these videos do tend to get split up, that means that the video that I described that on may not be the same video I earned it on. So, but I'll try. See if I can keep them together. Teleporters. I kind of want to get the Jar of Souls event. With Arcane Nova, now let me look at some of the weapons I've picked up along the way. Because at the weapons, see that, ooh, that's not bad. 12.1 on a two-hander. 10.4, 7.8. So I can go ahead and slot to my 7.5, I think. Go ahead and let myself do a little more damage. And hold on to that one. There we go. One more level and I can use my shoulders. Eagle Orb. 1 to 3. More damage, which is really nice, but I lose the +2 to experience. So I'm going to keep the experience gear on for now. And we found the right one.
This looks like a crypt fit for a chancellor. The crown must be here. Need more arcane power.
No touchy. No touchy. What did I tell you about getting handsy?
I need arcane power.
Get another Eagle Orb. 1 to 3, arcane granted through crits. Wonder how much that would increase it. Let's take a look real quick, because I have a 1 to 2, and that's a 1 to 3. I'm doing about 13.9 DPS. Put that on, and it goes up to 14. So that 1 extra damage is enough to push me up to the next level threshold for DPS. Plus damage gear is honestly very, very strong. And I've been talking about the Demon Hunter a bit in regards to that, because they added plus damage to the quivers, which they didn't have before. And there's been kind of a discussion on whether or not dual-wielding hand crossbows would be worth it, because plus damage gear is so powerful, at least right now. We don't know exactly how powerful it'll be in-game. But right now, plus damage gear trumps almost everything. So instead of dual wielding, you'd be better off using a single one-handed weapon with an offhand that gives plus damage. Or in the Demon Hunter's case, just using a two-handed weapon that allows you to use a quiver and get plus to damage. Just depends on how fast you want to attack in that case. But someone did bring up the interesting point, pardon me, someone did bring up the interesting point that we're not taking into effect the gems. You know, you're going to be able to socket gear, and weapons can be socketed for additional damage. So two single-hand weapons, so dual wielding in essence, may become really strong with the advent of being able to put gems into them. So that's food for thought for you. We obviously will not know a lot of how the in-game gear will play until we get to try it out. But I hadn't thought about that originally when I noticed the plus damage to quivers on the Demon Hunter. I knew it was nice to finally get it, but I didn't think about how it was phasing out dual wielding in terms of DPS. Of course, dual wielding is really great for resource generation if you have a class that gets resource through attacks like a barbarian or demon hunter or monk. Witch Doctor and wizard, obviously, they get their arcane power through, or they get their resource through not attacking, basically, or casting very cheap spells. In the case of the wizard, signature spells, which are free, and in case of the Witch Doctor, low-costing primary spells like Haunt, which is 15 mana, or Poison Dart, or Firebomb, which are both about 24. So for them, dual-wielding, not really good. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, dual-wielding, not really. Of course, the wizard and the Witch Doctor obviously can't dual-wield anyway. That's kind of why we have the offhand slot to give us plus the damage to kind of compensate for that.
I
Shazbud.
am so good, I astound myself.
Oh, there we go. A little arrogance there. I don't know. I think the other voice does it more for me. Matriarch's bones. Oh well.
Grave robber, return.
Oh, I didn't realize I got another Enlightened Shrine. Level 9. Active skill slot. What did I get? Spectral Blade. And Wave of Force. Now there is a nice spell. AoE. Indeed. Wave of Force, 25 arcane power with a 15-second cooldown. Discharge a wave of pure energy that repels projectiles and knocks back nearby enemies. Also slows movement of enemies by 60% and deals 220% weapon damage as physical. So, not quite as powerful as Arcane Orb being 250. It's only 220, but what it doesn't tell you here is the range of this ability, which is actually, I believe, larger than Arcane Nova. Of course, you cannot, cast it on somebody. It's centers at your character's level. But very nice. Let me just take a look at the patch notes just to see if anything has changed. Wave of Force, yes, actually has been nerfed at this point. It used to do 250, so it used to do more damage than Arcane Orb. Now it does less. So 250 decreased down to 220, about a 12% nerf, and the movement speed reduction was increased from 50 to 60, so that was buffed just a bit. Alright, we will use it. I like that. What I like about it, and I haven't been able to really use this functionality of it, is that it says it knocks back projectiles. So if you got a bunch of archers or enemies kind of shooting at you, you can use it not only offensively, but in that case you can use it defensively. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pick up Spectral Blade here, which this one I believe has not been changed at all. Spectral Blade that strikes all enemies in your path for 105% weapon damage. That doesn't look changed to me, so I'll just go ahead and equip it here. And Spectral Blade is one of those abilities that you have to be up close to use. Now it does say it does 105% weapon damage, but when you actually use it, you'll start to notice, and let me just, I'm going to do Wave of Force here real quick so you can see the distance on it. There you go. A little more than half the screen, honestly, in that case. Spectral Blade, on the other hand, signature spell, obviously, so it is free. But that 105 weapon damage is split up amongst 3 hits. So you will get the weapon damage, but each individual hit is not going to be quite there. So you're probably getting about 36% weapon damage per hit on Spectral Blade. Pretty cool. It looks cool, and what's interesting is, looks like you can actually see 5 strikes, but you only get the hit of 3. A little odd there. Well, I think I will go back to Magic Missile because with this rune, it's 143, which is obviously pure, purely more damage. So the benefit to something like Spectral Blade, though, if you have any abilities that proc on hit, or maybe a weapon that's got an on hit proc, something like this, the reason why those 3 strikes is a good thing for that kind of build is because each of those strikes will have a chance to individually proc an effect. So if you've got an ability that only procs on a certain number of hits, percentage of hits, something like Spectral Blade might be good for you. And you can kind of tell that because as you use Spectral Blade, and I noticed this in previous patches, I haven't really played enough with it here, but each individual hit has its own chance to hit, or to hit and crit. So that tells me that on-hit effects will definitely be affected by that. So I got a new orb, which does not have experience on it. Okay, so what I'm going to do... Oh, there's actually more to this crypt, and I want more experience. So we are getting relatively close. I feel like I'm gaining more experience on this one even than compared to my monk, which I had all of the same gear on the monk. Oh, dead end, of course. Alright, we'll explore the last tomb. Try to get as many monsters killed as possible here. And before I forget, since I just hit 9, I can put on my shoulders with more experience. And you can see there, shoulder pads.